Bet on Bears fans. Caleb Williams says he has no issues with Chicago, and Peter King says he's just going off the vibes. All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel, the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Appreciate you guys for showing love the way that you have. Caleb Williams is also showing Chicago some love here as he's sitting here talking about the future in the draft and kind of what his future may hold. It was interesting in an interview he did with ESPN with Peter Thamel. He talked about kind of the whole perception that he doesn't want to come to Chicago, that he wouldn't be interested in coming to Chicago. And he clarified that. He said, if I get drafted by the Bears, I'll be excited. If they trade the pick and I get drafted by somebody else, I'll be just excited. Speaking about Chicago, they have a talented team, a talented offense and defense. For anyone to be in that situation, I think they'd be excited. And that is, listen, that is the one scenario, as I have a stroke there, that is the one scenario about Caleb Williams coming to Chicago that I do feel better about. And the reason that I feel better about it, if the Chicago Bears are to draft him, is that he is coming to a team that isn't as far back in the process, which means that he gets to hit the ground running a little bit more, which means that he gets to hit the ground running, which he's going to need to do a little bit sooner than later, right? Because the coaching staff understands the situation that they're in. It's a win now situation. You have to go out there and you have to continue to improve. If you bring in a Caleb Williams type talent, he's supposed to be this generational guy who's a better talent than Andrew Luck, who's a better talent than who's been evaluated better than most of the quarterbacks over the last decade, right? So you have to come in and you have to live up to that name, or the pressure surrounding Chicago will be immense. And sometimes that pressure does run people away from the city of Chicago, knowing what the fans are going to expect, knowing what the team is going to expect, knowing the kind of conversations that are going to be had around your career, around your name every single day. I mean, we're here in the offseason right now. Justin Fields is on vacation in Milan, and his name is being brought up every single day on some TV station, news network, ESPN, right? Because where's he going to go? Is he going to be a Falcon? Is he going to be a Bear? Is he going to the Steelers? Nobody knows anything, right? Like, that's why you have to be a special type of player to play in an environment like this. And some people may look at that and say, it's unfair. That's why other cities get better things. Maybe it is unfair. Sure. Well, that's great. That's what it comes with being at the top in a big city. And when I say at the top, it's if Caleb Williams comes here and wins, he is a god. The same thing that I said about Justin Fields. If Justin Fields came here, think about this. Justin Fields has had a very up and down career. He has had a very, do I think that he's gotten better over time? Yes, I do. Do I believe that he could be a quarterback that could lead us into the future? Yes, I do. But it has been very up and down. And think about how much of an army there is outside waiting to storm Soldier Field here if we end up moving on from Justin Fields. I think that aspect of things is a little crazy on both sides, but I think here's the thing. You want to see guys that can go out there and be able to deal with that level of pressure. And in the article that Peter Thamel wrote, talking with Caleb Williams, he mentioned that he had been looking at, listen, I'm not going to lie, the kid's saying the right things, right? Mentioned that he had been looking at Jordan, that he had been looking at Peyton because he was 22. He's young. He hasn't seen a lot of these guys. He doesn't know, kind of what their careers were. Now looking at their careers, he says he wants to be able to be just like that. It's not about the money. It's about the legendary status that you can have coming to Chicago. And that's why it was interesting yesterday when Ryan Poles was asked about, okay, do you have any concerns about Caleb Williams? Why would you have concerns? Things like that. Because now hearing from Caleb, you think that most people would think like that, right? Most agents would present it like that, where you go, hey, You can go here. They've had issues. You will be loved for all the things you do well. You will be despised for all the things you do poorly. But if you succeed, you will be a god. You will be able to walk anywhere at any time and be able to do whatever you want throughout the city of Chicago, heck, throughout pretty much the entire state of Illinois. And I think that's why Ryan Poles looks at it when we heard from him yesterday talking about, is there concerns on Caleb wanting to be a Bear or not? He says no concerns on Caleb not wanting to be a Bear. I would want to know why. And I think that's really it, right? I want to know why, because I hear Colin Cowherd, the Bears haven't developed a quarterback at this point. The Bears haven't, yes, though all of those things are true, but this is a very different regime. Things are running completely differently with Ryan Poles in place. This is nothing like what we've seen in the past. We've never even had a quarterback conversation this good in the past. We've been talking about picking between Mitch Trubisky or Andy Dalton. Now we're talking about picking between Justin Fields, who most people think is going to go to another team and have a really, really successful career, or Caleb Williams, who most people believe if the Bears don't pick him, they're making the most moronic mistake of their life. Because if you're sitting there looking at Caleb Williams coming out of college and you didn't have Justin Fields, it would be a no-brainer to take Caleb. But if you're dealing with, right, like it's a situation where coming to Chicago absolutely is a great situation for the quarterback. That's what it comes down to. No matter what you do, yes, you're going to have to deal with the downs. You have to be strong enough to deal with the downs. You have to be strong enough to deal with the noise. And I understand that's people's concerns, right? When things got tough at USC, right? He ended up crying in the stands with his mom, right? Like, oh my goodness, how could he be? First off, it shows me that he's got emotions, right? He's a human. Like, I know everybody wants these guys to be Madden characters, but these guys are people. That's fine. It's fine that he cries to his mom. Maybe with the Bears, right? Don't do it in a public format. Maybe wait till she's in the locker room a little bit, deal with that. But do we think Justin Fields hasn't had similar emotions? Do we think Justin Fields hasn't gone through those downs? Do we think he hasn't dealt with those tough situations where he had never experienced losing? His first year, he's like, I don't know what this is. Like, I've never lost this much in my life. And so it's just, to me, the conversation on the fact that he wants to come here, the fact that he's fine coming here, and maybe he's just saying the right things. Maybe he's just going through the process of he knows how to politic it at the draft. But if he has no problems coming here, and if Ryan Poles deems that he is the best scenario for the Chicago Bears moving forward, where this is, yes, Justin Fields can get us to here, but Caleb Williams can continually get us to here, then listen, we're riding it out. It is what it is. Caleb Williams, when you look at his college numbers, it's not like he's coming in as a slouch. Yeah, I know what the wins attached to it in top 10 are, but it's almost as if people want to sit there and say that he's the worst quarterback ever just so that we could continue to support Justin Fields. No, I want Justin Fields to be the quarterback. I want Justin Fields to be here, but I want the Bears to win. And so, in 3 years at college, 1 at Oklahoma, 2 at USC, Caleb Williams comes into this, comes in with 93 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, threw for 10,000 yards in that time, ran for 966 and compiled 27 rushing touchdowns in that time. That's not a bad resume to be coming to the NFL with. Now, do I think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread? I personally don't. Right? For me, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the greatest thing since sliced bread. If we're going to have a conversation on that, that's a conversation for a different day. But I would love to know how you guys feel, man. Let me know in the comments below. Do you feel that now that you know Caleb Williams would be excited to come to Chicago, that he would be fine being a Bear? Do you feel like the decision is done? I know for some of you, you've always felt like the decision was done. I'm talking about the Justin Fields supporters in the group here, right? Like, let's include everybody in the project. We got to get, it's a war out here, dog. It's chaos. It's chaos out here. You're looking at both sides and it's like, pow, pow, Justin Fields, pow, Caleb Williams paints his fingernails, pow, Justin Fields fumbles, pow, Caleb Williams fumbles, pow. It's craziness out here, dog. We gotta get back to civilized conversation and not just throwing haymakers anytime somebody talks. But hey, I do want to know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments below as well. Drop JF, Berdan for Justin Fields, drop Caleb Williams, Berdan or CW, Berdan for Caleb Williams. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Now I got to get to this Peter King thing, man, because Peter King was on Dan Patrick today and basically said the one thing that we thought Peter King wouldn't have said, right? Dan Patrick asked them, we heard your Bears, the what you put out in your retirement article. And what kind of research was done for this? What kind of research did you go into? What kind of conversations were you having with the team? And Peter King just said, no research, no conversations. I'm just going off of what I see. I'm just going off of what I feel. I feel like if I'm Ryan Poles, it makes more sense to trade the pick than it does to bring a quarterback in. And I gotta say, Peter, not to say I'm upset or anything, but this is a volatile time in Chicago. You can't just be throwing that stuff out there just like, I was going off the vibes, bro. Nah, I don't know if he is or not, right? This could all be a part of the smoke screen. You know, teams maybe are gonna believe that or maybe not. But here's the one thing I will say. When you talk about Brad Biggs, when you talk about Peter King, both of them have been saying this for months. This isn't new. This isn't a shock. This isn't Peter King coming out of nowhere with new information that changes his entire opinion. Peter King has been saying this the entire time that he and kind of how he broke it down was, if you have a B quarterback, which you do right now in Justin Fields, and you have a bunch of holes on the team, you've got an opportunity right now to go out there and address the holes on the team versus worrying about the B quarterback right now. You can get to an A quarterback if you have a situation that develops an A quarterback. And I guess that's really kind of what Ryan Poles is going to have to gauge. Yes, he's going to have to add pieces if he brings in Caleb Williams, but is Caleb Williams if Justin Fields is a B quarterback, right? Is Caleb Williams an A+ quarterback? Is he one of the quarterbacks that can come in and impact the team immediately? Is he one of the Joe Burrows? Is he one of the CJ Strouds? Is he one of the, right? Like that's kind of the question that you have to ask. And do the Bears have a situation for a guy like that to thrive in? The one thing about CJ Stroud, yes, CJ Stroud came into the NFL and he had a great start to his career, and that team looks amazing and things are going well for him and he's a baller and you love all of that. But he's also got a scenario for him, a situation for him that works for him. That all goes together. This is football. This is not basketball. One player cannot just come in and just be heaven sent and everything's going to work. And so do you have that scenario where you now have the guy who is heaven sent or is can come in and operate with similar pieces that Justin Fields had and operate at a much higher level? Not to say that the Bears aren't going to make adjustments. You got the flexibility with the cap space. I think you're going to spend money no matter what. You've also got multiple draft. You also have more draft picks with Justin Fields there. I would assume that adds some kind of lineman, wide receiver combination, whether on the offensive or the defensive side. But it's just, it's when having conversations around the quarterback position, you have to understand that even for the best quarterbacks in the world, there has to be some kind of supporting cast. I mean, maybe Pat Mahomes is the outlier. He's the one where I've looked at it and I'm just like, I mean, he's still got Kelsey, right? Like Kelsey's still really good. So that makes a difference. But Kelsey's getting older and they just won a Super Bowl with all of that. But there's so much that goes into football, right? Even CJ Stroud winning this season, right? Yes, he was able to outduel some quarterbacks, but there were times where the defense had to step up as well. So, right, do you have that situation here in Chicago? That's the biggest question Ryan Poles has to answer versus having the B quarterback, addressing all these positional needs that the Bears still have. 3 technique, edge rusher, running back maybe is a position of need. I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on that, but like that's a last position of need. Y'all know how I am with that. Left tackle to me is a position of need. It just is. We're going to be talking with Brandon Thorne on the Chicago Bears podcast today. Tune in with me and J-Mac on that because I can't wait to talk to him about Braxton Jones. And yes, I feel like he's developed for the level he's at, but has he gotten to the elite point, or not even elite? Has he gotten to the point where the issues aren't as big of issues? Maybe that changes with Caleb Williams. Those are the questions that you have to ask yourself if you're Ryan Poles and you want to go out there and have that long-term success. And we know Poles is doing that. It's in Poles we trust, baby. So we already know what Ryan's bringing to the table. I'm not worried about that in the slightest. But Peter, come on, dog. It's a very volatile time in Chicago. You can't just be throwing balloons up there, bro. Can't just be like, hey, you know what? Peter King hit us with what's the LeBron meme, bro? Where he's like, or the LeBron video clip. He's like, you know, I was just in my head and I was like, you know what? Here go 2 more for y'all. We don't need 2 more, Peter. We got what we got back here. We're stressing right now. It's stressful out here. I do want to know how you guys feel about all of it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We will be back for the Daily Show today at 6. And of course, we'll be here for any breaking news that drops as well. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear done. Peace.